Hey, 40U. My name is Suzanne. I thought I would make a video. This has been on my mind for a while. I am a graduate of 40U, and I was in the curriculum between April or May. I forget exactly when. Oh, I started April 30th. So May through November of 2023, I went through the 40U curriculum. And what transpired through that coursework and afterwards up until now has been eye-opening, to say the least, to say the least. And I've been meaning to write a post and to make a video for you guys to kind of share my experience. So I'm finally getting around to it. I hope you enjoy the story, and I look forward to connecting with anybody who's interested in doing so. Okay, so like many of you, I found Aaron probably through, well, I'm pretty sure it was his Law of One YouTube playlist. Because I know at that time somehow I got onto the Law of One thing, and I was reading about that, and of course that's probably why Aaron showed up in my feed. So I'm like, who is this guy? He's very poised, and he speaks very eloquently. Man, I mean, we all come into these lifetimes with skills that we're going to need, and in a particular way for what we're going to do, right? So I'm not regretting my manner of delivery. I know it's going to be perfect for whatever I'm doing. But boy, Aaron, if you're listening, your skills are admirable, admirable, unbelievable, truly. And I know that you have that gift because you will strike millions of people that way. Anyway, that's what led me to 40U. And in true spiritual fashion, you know how this goes. When you know something is aligned for you, there's no question. You just do it. You don't even think about it. You just do it. And so I'm like, what the hell? I have to do this coursework 40U. So I hit the button, and I sort of figured out, how I was going to do this. I am technically neurodivergent. And if you are neurodivergent, you know what that means. It's ADHD and autism, somewhere on the spectrum. Um, I'm, depending on your perception of what that means, I may or may not appear to you that way. I I will not appear that way in video. Maybe in person. Um, the reason I mention this is because I had to sit down and say, okay, this is a lot of money per month. This isn't just some willy-nilly thing you're going to try. You have to commit to this shit, right? I'm sure some of you also had that conversation with yourself. It's like, no, you need to make this a priority. You need to do this. That's what I did. I'd have that crazy conversation with myself. No goofing off. This isn't just something you're going to investigate while you pay for 1 or 2 months. Nope, you're going to commit to this and you're not going to let go. So that's what I started with. That was my mindset. And I'm not working currently. Well, not for someone else, I'm not. Um, and so I had the time to commit to this. And that's what I did. I stopped everything else. I made this a priority, and I went through it. I did the courses week by week. And boy, you know not to miss a day on checking that button that you completed it. Anyway, I did get through the coursework May through November. Now, something interesting happened in, it might have been a month after I started 40U. I was doing meditations. And for the record, I'm not a super big meditation fan. Again, neurodivergence, you're just all over the place. I am a software developer. And so I love to write code and create stuff like that or do artwork, something like that, you know. So I'm all over that creative space. Um, Meditation is not really my thing. Never has been. However, I've gotten fairly good at it, and I definitely got great at it through 4DU. I don't do it anymore. I mean, not in that way. I don't sit down in particular most days to meditate, but I was doing it as I started 4DU. Now, I don't remember. I was still in Master Your Mind at that point. I was only a month in, but something interesting happened. I woke up and I was aware I was not alone. This is just one day, about a month into 4DU. I woke up and I'm like, I am not alone. Who's with me? And it became clear there were two Sirian White Lions. Now, this may be a little far out for some of you. It isn't for me. I'm very galactically aligned and inclined. Uh, More fun facts. I am Aquarian, so you will hear me frequently talk about ETs and the cosmos and the universe and all of that stuff. That's just how I'm wired. So I'm aware of the different collectives, ET collectives out there, and I am quite aligned with Sirius. That's one of my alignments. But anyway, these two white lions are in my house, and I can actually see them with my eyes wide open. Now, I wasn't seeing them with my eyes. I was seeing them through my third eye. But normally, you know, we got to close our eyes and focus through the third eye to see. But I didn't have to. I could see them with my eyes wide open. And they stood in my living room like two sentinels. They didn't speak. They didn't look at me directly necessarily. I mean, I wasn't looking that hard, but I was just watching them. They were like standing there as if someone else was coming and I didn't feel like they were guarding necessarily, but they stood there like they were. And so I'm like, okay, this is unusual. I had never seen beings in my area where I was like that before. I would sense things, sense beings in my space, but never saw them like that. So I'm like, it struck me. I'm like, oh, maybe I should sit down and meditate and find out why these two are here. So I did that. And in my meditation, Mother Mary showed up. How did I know it was Mother Mary? Well, when you do this long enough with these particular beings, you learn their frequencies, you learn how they feel. And for me, I'm very third eye open, so I can see. And I just watched the symbolism that appeared. I didn't know who it was yet at that point. I could still see the lions, but this female showed up and sort of started to send me symbolism to indicate who she was. And what I started to see were like the little Russian dolls that are, I forget, they probably have a particular name, but the ones that are stackable inside of each other. But that vision quickly transformed into three people, the nativity scene, right? Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Jesus. And I don't remember exactly how I knew it was Mother Mary versus Mary Magdalene, but she made it known that way. And I'm like, oh, it's Mother Mary. Okay, what's going on? Now I've got Mother Mary and two Sirian White Lions in my living room. They're up to something. And I just watched the visions. She was working in my heart. And again, this was May 2023, approximately. maybe a month into 40U. She was doing something, and she, at one point, she sent me a vision of her. She was sort of chuckling, like laughing about what she was up to. I didn't really know. I know she was working in my heart, but she's stirring a cauldron like this, as if to imply she was up to something. So I laughed. I laughed with her and just kept watching what she was doing. Well, then there was this um, enormous, like it was an explosion of light in my heart uh, that happened. And it settled down into a ring of fire around my heart. The flames were unusual. They were white with yellow and red tips. And in the flames were what I have since suspected, learned and suspected were fire letters. Now, I don't really know what that's about. I just have seen reference to this. But they looked like Hebrew letters, and they were in the flames. And these flames were around my heart. Then there was this giant emerald that appeared there. It was cut like a diamond, but it was emerald in color. Uh, that happened on the first day. So she wrapped up what she was doing, but I got the distinct sense that there was something she needed to do the next day. So on day 2, I sat down. Those lions were still standing there in my living room on day 2. I sat down to do meditation again. And I just assumed, they were going to do all the work, show up, show me the visions. I sat there for like 10 minutes in complete absence. It wasn't bad for meditation. That's what you want. You don't want your mind rambling and whatnot. But I sat there and I'm like, why is nothing happening? And I'm like, oh, maybe I should focus in my heart. Maybe that's where it's happening. And the minute I did that, sure enough, there she appears. She appeared. Now, I don't remember exactly. I have to go back to my journal. I don't remember exactly what happened on day 2. That big giant emerald was still there. And well, actually, what happened on day 2, I think. I don't remember the details now exactly. But my heart opened up almost like a portal. And through it, I could see the stars. And then there was this whooshing, like a lot of stuff from maybe this realm was being whooshed out through my heart to somewhere else. I don't know. I've never asked about that or, searched online to see if anybody else had had similar experiences like that. But that's what it was. This whooshing feeling of stuff leaving went on for like 5 minutes. And then, now I can't remember where this piece happened, but it was either day 1 or day 2. I think it was day 2. I then found myself with what I called a suit of light. Imagine a full body jumpsuit. And imagine that it's made of light. I was holding it like this. It was in my arms. And I'm like, okay, I've got a suit of light that I'm holding. Where did this come from? What do I do with it? Well, then again, if you're used to having visions through the third eye, you just watch and they evolve. So I'm standing there, and then all of a sudden I find myself with a whole lot of other Sirian white lions, like maybe 60 of them. I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing. And then there was another some being that interfaced with me. I handed this suit of light to whomever that was. I thought at the time it was Earth Mother. I was wrong. I found out later about all of this, but I handed this suit over, and all of these other these lion beings who were in the vicinity were watching in awe. And then I found a staff in my hand. Again, details are a little foggy at this point, but I looked at them all and they looked at me almost like, wow, she did it. Like they weren't expecting this to happen, or they were excited it happened. And it's like, nobody move, nobody jinx it. I don't know. I don't know entirely what was going on there. Well, I do now. I do now. I mean, if you want the spoiler, uh, what it was is I was getting a light body upgrade. And in a sense, don't get hung up on the semantics. Don't go, no, that's not how it happens. I I don't have I generally don't like to spend the time finding the right words because again, neurodivergence. I just want to get on with the damn story, right? And the story is I was getting a light body upgrade. And so you have to you sort of have to hand over your old light body to get the new one. That is not technically what happens. There is there's no exchanging. It's kind of an upgrade process of your light body. But that's symbolically what I was seeing. I was handing over the light body to be upgraded. Okay, so that's what happened a month into 40U, and I'm like, oh God, I have definitely got to commit to this. There were numerous other experiences throughout the summer as I went through 40U, and boy, I'm trying to remember. I think four times through 40U, I experienced what do you call it again? Interconjunction? Interconjunction? Yeah. The first one happened really early on. I don't remember exactly when it was. It might have been in Master Your Mind. No, no, no. I meant the meditation course. At any rate, it happened four times over the course of 40U, amongst other crazy ass stuff. I mean, wow, wow. It was what an experience. The interconjunctions, crazy. And I thought to myself, through all of this, I wonder if I'm going to experience a Kundalini awakening. How will I know? How will I know? I mean, when you experience an interconjunction, you can assume it might be like that. Pardon me. Sort of getting over a virus. Um, so I wrapped up 40U in November. Again, I'm a huge proponent of this coursework. Huge. I loved it. I loved it. It was great for me. It was on time, right? Never a coincidence. You always find what's going to be helpful when you need it, right? We all know how this goes. Um, Sorry, I'm going to do another cough drop here. At that time, the story continues, and we haven't gotten to the good part yet. Around it was actually at the end of September. I reached out to a couple of people on the internet, husband and wife team named Allison and Will Brown. Will is a trance channel. Allison is, how would I describe her? She's actually an author of a number of books. The two of them, with Will's help, Allison wrote a book called The Origin Story, which some of you might, if you're sort of galactically inclined, if you're crazy Aquarian like me, and you love the whole ET side of things, um, our brothers and sisters in those realms, you might be interested in that book. But I reached out to Will and Allison because um, as a result of all this 4D work, I was getting lots of past life stuff that was coming up to be cleared and to be addressed and acknowledged and this kind of thing. And I wanted to know if they had ever had any experience with these Sirian White Lions. And the short of that story is they had. And that's how I got to know them. I ended up reading that book. I got into a book study with them And through that channel, I ended up meeting what some people would call a twin flame. Now, I'm not tied to these kinds of spiritual terms. Literally, what it was I met somebody whose frequency was almost identical to mine. How do I know that? Because the experience was so crazy, I ended up asking Will to channel about it. And it turns out that this friend of theirs, who I met through them, she and I have this almost identical frequency. So you can imagine, it's like looking in the mirror. You communicate the same way, you feel the same way. Well, there are differences. There are some stark differences, but there is this magnetism that happens. And there's also a repulsion. If you've ever, anybody who's had an experience like this, you will know there is an extreme magnetism that brings you together and a repulsion that pushes you apart. It's because you it is like looking in a mirror. Sometimes you hear the term mirrored souls. That's how this was. And so everything that you fear and try to keep hidden, they fear and try to keep hidden. And you see it in them because you know it's within you. That's what causes the repulsion. It is a crazy ass experience. I don't wish it on anybody. And I hope you absolutely experience it. It is incredibly intense, however. So this starts up. This is now February 2024. She and I start chatting and whatnot. And guess what happens? I wasn't aware of it at the time, but the kundalini awakening starts. I only know this in retrospect because I did ask about it. I had Will, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. I start going through kundalini experience. February, I don't know, I don't remember exactly when it started. It was probably March, April, May, June. It lasted for about 4 or 5 months. And to what degree it's still going on, hard to say. It is not as intense as it was in March, April, and May of 2024. Um, Now, I hadn't been meditating. I hadn't been doing any of the techniques that Aaron teaches us. I hadn't been doing anything. And this Kundalini awakening starts, and I wasn't aware that that's what was happening. I'm just like, why am I absolutely insane? I was on fire, literally on fire. Well, not literally, in a passionate sense, energetic sense, on fire. It was absolutely crazy. I won't get into too much detail about it. If you have questions, you can ask me. But this went on for, well, through about June. July, August, September, it was sort of July, August, it was sort of tapering off. Things were shifting. And then I think the beginning of August, I started another book. One of my friends that I had met through Will and Allison again sent a note to me one day, and she says, or sent a YouTube video to me of Danica Patrick and Kaya Ra. Kaya Ra has written a book called The Sophia Code, which some of you might resonate with or want to know about. This friend of mine says, do you want to read this with me? Or something like this. And I'm like, it resonated. And it was just like 4 to you. I'm like, we got to do this. So she sent it to another friend, and I sent it to this other woman that has the same frequency of me. The four of us did this Sophia Code thing, which again is another like, what the heck? Intense experiences. So it was within, and of course, Allison, Will and Allison was one of the four of us in this group. this little group that did the Sophia Code thing. And Will channeled for us um, at the beginning and at the end so that we would have an idea of kind of what was unfolding, what we could expect. Um, it was in that channeling where I asked about the kundalini awakening because I didn't know that's what was happening at the time. I just felt insane and crazy and on fire. If you've been through it, you know why I'm laughing. Okay. So I asked in one of those sessions for our Sophia Code book study, I'm like, was that really what happened? I mean, I suspect that's what happened last spring. Was that actually a Kundalini awakening? And it was confirmed. Yes, that's what it was. So 4DU, you were a success. I know Aaron says some people might go through it, some people might not. You don't know. I guess if it's in your life path, your life plan to have that experience, you will. And you will at the right time. Um, More and more as I have gone through all of this. And, we're all awakening I'm super into astrology as well. So I pay attention to the astrological atmosphere. Boy, oh boy, are we getting corralled now. I'm going to say the way that I would put it is the planet's alignment with love is becoming less loose, we'll say, less loose. And if you are not in alignment with love, now I'm going to start talking like law of one. If you are not in alignment with love, you are really feeling it. And it's causing, if you want to be in alignment with love, uh, it will cause you to go through a number of experiences that flush out the garbage you're still clinging to within. I know Aaron would say this in a much better way with much better words, and maybe he'll respond. Maybe he'll do a video response. But my experience, the way that I've experienced it, and the words that I put to it is, I think the atmosphere, the energetic atmosphere on the planet and the earth herself, and all of the great beings who have been working for eons to bring us to this moment in time on this planet, that frequency of love is getting, how do I put this, you guys? The difference between love and not love is becoming much more defined and intense. And if you find yourself outside of love, but you want to be in love, you will march yourself right through a whole bunch of very difficult challenges to get the garbage out, to release it, to let it go so that you can be more fully in that channel of love. I've been making videos about this now. Align with love, align with love. That is what's happening. And to prevent myself from rambling too much longer, which I will, if left unchecked, I feel it. I feel it. I know 4DU is a huge part of that for me. It won't be for everybody, but it was a great thing for me. It gave me the words. And Aaron, I know you get the feedback from thousands of people every day, but you truly, truly have this gift to bring through a sort of, I'm going to say frequency, because that's what it was for me. It wasn't necessarily your words. Your words are just a byproduct of this frequency. You are channeling that so clearly that it cannot be mistaken by anyone who is aligned in a similar way. I hope that all of us can come to a, a more pure alignment with this, so that we too can become those voices. We too can be a conduit for that frequency. There are many, again, don't get hung up on the technicalities here, but it's my understanding there are many rays of creation. There is love, the core creation, the core frequency, the core ray, but there are many rays within it. And we all are aligned with those rays to varying degrees. And the way we express will be aligned with those rays and the rays, right? Okay. I don't want to get too down a tangent or a rabbit hole, but we're all going to express differently. Got to be in alignment with love. And then your unique expression of that spectrum will resonate with a certain swath of folks out there. We're all bringing the same message. Align with love. Align with love. I'm going to cry. This is what happens. You open your God, I didn't even talk about the whole heart opening thing that Mother Mary did. My heart was open to a certain degree, but she unlocked something. She did something that it had to be done. And from there, it's it's been this process of greater opening. And those of you who've gone through this, you know what unfolds when you open your heart to that degree. That alignment with love becomes possible. You feel it, you get conscious, you see it everywhere you look, even when you are not looking at something pretty. When your heart is open and you're conscious of this, you can choose that alignment in every moment. I choose that alignment. Lots of emotion. This is a big, big deal, you guys. It's a big deal. We are on the eve of some big changes on this planet. And I have to imagine it's those of us who choose this. You hear the call, you do the work, you find the way. And then you make videos like this. Please know I am a super introvert. Super, super introvert. I can make movies though. Or I can make these videos. Who knows why? I don't know why. I just feel the call. You probably feel the call. Anyway, that's the story. There are plenty of details in there that I didn't mention. It's ongoing. The struggle to purify your alignment. Oh man, if you're like me, you're going to walk yourself into some serious challenges. Do it. Go for it. Tell me about it. I'm on every social channel you can imagine. My handle everywhere is Suzanne Bobin, all one word, first name, last name. You can find me wherever you want. Um, on Facebook, I have a public profile and I have a private one. Um, Hit me up in 4DU if you want to be on my private friends list. I have a secret list that I post to there. Um, and I will accept 4DU members, but you got to hit me up in 4DU so I know it's really you first. Otherwise, you can follow me publicly anywhere else. I am starting to talk like this and about this stuff on those channels if you want to know more. I would absolutely love to have you um, because I am going to be broadcasting this alignment. I'm going to be resonating it. And I would love to have you in my comments. I don't I don't need you to follow or subscribe or do anything like that. That is not what this is about. This is about superpowering this alignment with love on this planet. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying here. It is about, I don't want to use analogies like building an army. That's not what I'm talking about. But there's some relative truth to that analogy in relationship to what I'm saying here. I would love to connect with other resonators. If you are resonating with what I'm saying and explaining and feeling, let's participate together so that others can see the strength. No, that's not right. Again, words. Others can feel the joy and they stop and say, well, what do those folks have that I don't? How do I get that too? How do I they won't know it's an alignment at that point, but they're going to be curious. That's what I want to do. I want to find you all so that we can begin connecting. And I don't know, is it amplifying? Someone with better words. Help me out. All right. That's enough. That is literally enough. If you guys have made it this far, wow. I absolutely appreciate that. And I hope to connect with you. In case there's a lot of interest, bear with me as I go through chats or comments or whatever, connections or friend requests or that kind of thing. And of course, Aaron and the team that helps him, all of you, thank you again for doing what you're doing because you are playing your part so well. So well. You're truly, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.